Well, here I am. I'm in South Dakota, Sioux Falls to be exact. Yes, you're staring at this. I think this one is mine. I'm not sure. So, time for the big collective grown from the masses. Yes, I am once again swapping cars. This has been 6 years in the waiting for me. When I bought the little black Hyundai, I was never intended to keep it long, because it replaced a killed accent. So now that the numbers finally can be made to work, I'm going to take the plunge. Since I think this one is mine, I'm not 100% certain yet, but we're going to check. I'm hoping that it is. All I have to do is get the paperwork signed and I can start heading home. So I'm waiting for them to open. So, without further ado, I wait for these guys to get opened up and so I can get busy and start signing away my life. So, more in a little bit. This will be the one that goes away. Yeah, it looks like crap. You can never seem to get out of my town without having to go through some kind of crap weather and turn a car into a pile of filth. But it was a cute car, fun little car. Never fit in it very well. But I still enjoyed it during the brief time that I had it. But it's time to put myself in the green. Well, we are officially on the road. That's the screen. On electric power. This is so cool. Absolutely freaking cool. That is the energy screen that I'll be staring at for the drive home. A little scan of the console. Pull this out. There we go. This is nothing short of awesome. This is the baby. This has been 6 years coming, ever since I saw the concept car at the Dallas Auto Show. I can finally call myself the owner of a Volt. And so far, 5 miles into ownership, it's everything that I knew it would be. So we're gonna head on home. We'll try to get when the thing goes over to gas. And we'll do little updates on the way home like we do through our other driving videos. So we will see you further down the road. Well, as you can see, we are down to our last mile of EV operation. And we should be kicking over at any moment now. 49.1 miles. I have less than a mile left on the battery. You saw the last little bit of green fall out of it. So we'll sit here and wait for this thing to swap over to gas, because we are officially done with, just about done with battery mode. And 49.5 miles later, we are officially in series hybrid mode, or what GM calls range extender. And this is where we'll be driving from this point on to the house. We now have a little blue fuel cell looking thing on the right, and we're completely done. So with that, we'll continue to motivate on home, and we'll be driving home in the range that an electric car, pure electric, cannot go. So now we're back to being a gas car, and we will see you further down the road. Well, probably time for an update. We're no longer on I-29. We're headed, oh hell, I can't remember the name of the town at the moment. But you can see we're going across the lake area. We've, of course, long since gotten away from using the battery. 218 miles of range still left on the little bitty gas tank. And still with an overall average of 64.3 miles per gallon. Used about 2 gallons of gas now. And continue to cruise along. One little thing I've learned about this car is that if it you get a little bit of downhill and you get enough into the battery that it can put it to use, it does. So anytime there's a little bit of capacity picked up in the battery, it goes back to an EV mode for a short period of time. So far, I think I've picked up a couple of miles maybe of EV use. It does not count it in the energy screen against battery consumption, because that is apparently what is reserved for when you plug in. Which, of course, battery or energy recaptured and put into the battery from regen and going downhill doesn't come from the plugs. So we don't use that. So we've had 10.4 kilowatts used in the battery. Pretty neat. 2.25 gallons, a little more so far in the gas tanks. So, and our average for this trip just dropped to 64. We're still going to come up with a pretty interesting number. I'm sure it'll be well north of 50 overall for the tanks. So we shall see. My average thus far for fuel consumption is about 43 miles to the gallon, so we're beating the EPA figure as well by 3 miles to the gallon in a brand new car with 350 miles on the odometer. So we're going to keep heading westward bound. We pick up 281 and head north. Man, I'm drawing a total blank. Aberdeen is the name of that town. So we're headed towards Aberdeen, and we pick up north towards Jamestown, and we pick up the vector to Minot. Going to be a somewhat late night getting home. That's fine. Expected as much. So we're going to continue to be headed that direction. So we'll pick you an update down the road. Well, we are in Aberdeen. Just got through pulling around, using a little bit of reserve power. Nope, now I'm going back to the engine. Let me go over a bridge. A little bridge went over a railroad yard. Kind of neat. So far, so good. Still showing 180 miles of range left on the fuel tank, and we're headed up towards Jamestown now. Not a whole lot to complain about there. So we're going to keep on heading north now. We'll see you over at the state line. Well, time for a little update. Unfortunately, I was in the middle of a phone call with OnStar when we came across it, but we are officially in North Dakota now. Of course, we're continuing to head north. I'm still eating a headwind, and it is unfortunately taking its bite out of the totals here. Grumble, grumble, gripe, gripe, piss, moan, groan. Eat a headwind going down, eat a headwind going home. Once in a while, I'd like to catch a break. But anyway, we continue to head north. It's nice and cool outside, so the AC is off. And we're going to make our way up towards Jamestown. I'm going to go ahead and fill it whether it needs it or not that direction, because I know I can get the 91 octane there. And rural North Dakota, that can get sketchy. So we're going to continue to head homeward bound, and we'll make an update further down the road. So we will talk at y'all later. Well, I am now north of Jamestown. That's where we did a fuel stop. Put a little over 6 gallons. Cost me 25 bucks on premium to fill this up. Not too bad. But, of course, now we're getting a real idea of what the headwinds in the terrain are doing to me. I've been eating a stiff headwind for a while. Still I'm eating it. I can hear it in the car's profile despite all the sound deadening. So, that's actually kind of what we're getting on gas right now, is almost 38. But, oh well. Hopefully we'll be able to improve on that if we can get aimed a little bit more out of this wind. We'll see. But overall, so far, this is kind of neat because this car hasn't been plugged in to charge yet. Since leaving the dealership, it's still saying on discharge. So that's my overall average so far on this trip. I expect that that'll reset, and we've got plenty of reading to do in the books. But anyway, we're headed up northbound again, or northwest according to the little compass thing in the dash. And we'll get headed up towards Minot. So I'm not sure how much farther up the road that is. Unfortunately, on the turn thingy, it has a couple of turns we still have to go through. So we're going to continue on up the road, and we're going to check in with you guys a little later. I figure time for another update. We are out here in the middle of absolutely nowhere in North Dakota. and approximately 77 miles southeast of Minot. So we're getting closer to home. Let's say about 200 miles out. Not doing too bad. Thinking that might be enough to get me all the way home without a fuel stop. So we will see how that works out. But we keep going along. It's still windy as hell. I wish it would, the winds would stop, but I guess they're not gonna. Unfortunately, that still means less than happy fuel economy numbers, but oh well. 39.4 so far. I just went up 39.6, so I'll update that one. So actually, we're getting pretty close to hitting the EPA mark despite the headwinds, so I guess that's an improvement. So we keep on heading homeward bound, and I guess Velva or one of those will be the next major town up ahead. It's not it, the grain elevators up there are not it, so. But we keep motivating to the northwest, and we'll give another update when we get better towards Minot, so we'll see you down the road. Well, it's been a little while, so I figured I'd better give an update. I have come up to and gone through the town of Minot, basically on the home stretch. And we look like we are going to have enough fuel to complete this with only one fuel stop, so that's pretty cool. So we get back on one fuel stop. Of course, it'll be ready for gas by the time I pull into Williston. But that'll be okay. That's kind of as good as we can hope for, given the very, very tiny tank that this thing has. So, I've got nothing at all that I can complain about with this. I do wish the mileage would be just a wee bit better. But, you know, in hybrid mode, but hey, it's not about hybrid mode so much as it is the fact that once I get home, get it plugged in, that'll be it for me burning gas around town in this car. So I'm going to enjoy this thing. I'm liking it. I think it's worth every penny that it cost me. So this car is an absolute joy to drive. So I'm going to get her on down the road and get her closer to home, so we'll talk at you later. Here we are dropping into the White Earth Valley. Sorry about the sunspot, I can't help that. And another neat thing here is, of course, going down into the valley, we are hardcore in regen mode. Neat part is, all the energy captured here will be put to use going up the other side, so this will still keep the power off, or the engine off, when I go up the hill on the other side. It's pretty cool, I think. Now we keep getting closer to home. We're hitting the EPA number, so that's not too bad. We still got a little bit of a crosswind, and sometimes delves into a headwind, so I guess that is as good as to be expected. So here we are at the bottom of the valley, and you see we're now feeding into out of what we recaptured back to the wheels. And this should do this all the way up to the top. So we'll sit here and give that a test, and we'll see what it does. No, we didn't make it. We are now back on engine. Oh well, so much for that theory. This must not have been able to capture enough. That's a bummer. But we continue on up the other side, and we're going to get closer to home. We'll see you later. Well, here we are. Better grab this video before it gets any darker. Officially home. And haven't decided if I want it on this side or the other side yet. Be either on this side if I need to get to the ion. This car can be moved without burning any gas, so without having to start an engine, that means you don't have to deal with getting the moisture in the oil and stuff. Here we go. Really make the Enviro nuts heads explode. The big SUV, the EV, and a motorhome. But man, what a ride. That was a fun drive home. And I'm happy as a clam. So, with that, time to go let the dog out, call it a night, and figure out where I'm going to plug this car in at. So we will see you later.